Hello and welcome to Tokyo Games match preview of match day 3 of Group D when England take on the Czech Republic. Gonzo, how are you feeling for this one?
I guess the same as every other England fan in that sense. I'm a bit worried about it. I'm maybe a bit underwhelmed as well. And I'm certainly aware that the Czech Republic can beat us. I'm concerned worried because I worry that Southgate's not got the minerals to rectify what are clearly some of England's problems, basically.
Anyway, that's exactly what we're here to discuss today. We're going to take a little look at the Czechs, a little look at England and what we think, see how we feel the game going, and also what happens to England. Who will they face in the next round? There's a little bit of confusion. I'll tell you exactly who England will be facing next round, depending on where they finish. But before we get into it, speaking of Czechs, I want you to check out one thing, and that's the One Football app. The link is in the description, and the pinned comments of the video is completely free. Get it downloaded today. Keep up to date with all your latest, whether it's England or Scotland. Like myself, I went on the One Football app earlier to discover Billy Gilmour has got COVID and will not be playing for Scotland. So that ruined my day at 10:30 this morning and probably scared Mason Mount earlier. But all England players have tested negative, especially Calvin Phillips, but that's because he didn't get near Billy Gilmour on Friday night. Anyway, that wasn't on the One Football app. That was just myself. But it's the best football app for football fans. It's completely free. Download it and you choose what you follow. So you see only the teams you want to see. So you don't need that Arsenal news on your feed, do you? So get your West Ham stuff, your country stuff, and keep up to date with all the latest Euros. Gonzo, Czech Republic, what's your thoughts on them?
I think I was expecting them to be better than they are. If the truth be known, if I'm absolutely true, and I say that obviously from a position of England not being anywhere as good as they should be, I don't think we got the temptation to look at the Czechs with rose-tinted spectacles, claret and blue-tinted spectacles, maybe, because of our two lads, because also the interesting crowd, because we've been linked with a number of players from there, the goalkeeper as well, certainly one of them, and another one. Obviously, I know he's a younger player and whatnot, is young Hlosek. So I think the temptation is to look and think this is a fantastic, brilliant team. It may well actually be that Slavia Prague are a fantastic, brilliant team and not the Czech Republic themselves. So, but look, I mean, look, they're functional and they've got a striker who's going to cause anybody bother. And we're going to have to be mindful of that team. There's no doubt about it. And I would imagine the Czechs, what I think of them, I'd imagine they're looking forward to this game a whole lot more than England are.
Yeah, I think they are what I expected from them. An organised unit, a fit unit, but lacking that star quality, perhaps. They perhaps don't have what you want to call it, technique of what England have. Perhaps they don't have the flair that other teams possess for that. But they're certainly well organised, hard-working, and they've got the job done. 4 points. It'd be extremely unlikely that they're not going to make it into the next round. How far do you see Czech Republic going in this? Do you think this is as good as it gets for them? Round 16 and out, or can you see them progressing a little bit further?
No, I've got to say, I don't think the Czech Republic are caught in a halfway house, which I think England are. I think England are. I think with the players that England have got, I think England should have an identity. The identity England should have is very different to what Gareth Southgate is trying to implement. I don't think the Czech Republic have this conflict of personality, if you want. I think they know what their team is, they know what their team should be, and because of that, they are a team. They have a direct ethos and a way they want to play and the way that they think they can win games. And actually, they can win games by doing that. They can defend well, they can be tight on the back, they can run more than their opposition. And they have got some goal scorers in their team. And the thing is, England are not conceding any goals and winning the odd game by a single goal, but we're not really set up to do that. The Czechs are. So actually, I would say no. Once they face any of the bigger teams, they can't go any further. But I've also seen teams like this before. And I've seen teams like this be able to do really, really well. And if they play to their strengths, which they will, because they don't have that conflict of personality, I think they can. I think they can get comfortably into the knockout rounds, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a really good sort of evaluation of Czech Republic, actually. I would be surprised to see them progress further, but that's based on who I think they're going to face on the next round, and I think that team will just be better than them, kind of thing. I think they're there to be beaten. They beat Scotland. I don't think it was a 2-0 game. Due with Croatia, fair enough. They'll get something against England, perhaps, but it's sort of, it looks good on paper, but I don't think it's as good as the results perhaps suggest. Or they win the group. It sounds good, they won the group, but I don't think they're that good, if you like. I think it's almost like a poor group in a way. Nobody's really taken charge. Nobody's really looked good in our group, if you like. The Czech Republics, I think, have been all right. Croatia's been underwhelming. I think England's been underwhelming. I think Scotland's been, again, all right, but that's as good as you're going to get, really, from us. I think it's been a poor group. The Czech Republic players, anyone you admire? I mean, this is the one country you probably know most about, barring the likes of Spain and Germany.
This is pointless us talking about the West Ham lads because we've spoken so much about them. It has been interesting to see Southgate playing the role that he is currently playing, and so I do wonder if he's going to be, the shackles are going to be off on him a little bit more for England. But as I say, they do have a rigid system, and he has to play within the parameters of that. But it doesn't look like he's. And maybe there's something different. I mean, he scored a hat-trick for his country relatively recently. I think it was even this year. So maybe that's not totally reflective of what they've been doing. So I guess those guys are no surprise. Krau is. Look, there's been a lot of talk, Geo. There's been a lot of talk. Krau's not as good as I thought he would be. And Schnickety, or whatever his name is, Schick. Very good. I mean, just all technique, isn't he, really? And height. Really good. Some people, you can watch what they've practiced to get to where they are. Here's a guy that's really practiced his finishing. It's really evident, and it's quite funny, actually, because he's not the only one. I've seen many of these strikers before down the years who you think perhaps haven't spent any time practicing on their passing, the technique of their passing, or maybe even not their second touch or a dribble. You just look at them and you think, oh, my goodness, you've basically spent your childhood banging a ball at a wall that had a goal outline on it. That was basically what he used to do. And he's got real. You just see the technique that he has when he strikes the ball to try and finish with it. Very, very good. Side foot or the outside of his foot, just really, I think, really, really good technique as well. So I think he's obviously the one that's two stood out. Krau worse than I thought. Schick, hadn't even heard of him, mate. I thought, oh yeah, he's good.
Southgate's interesting because he does sort of play like in a defensive 2, if you want to call it that kind of thing, and he does okay. He gets about, he's physical and stuff. And I actually think sort of my annoyance with him to some extent when he plays for West Ham is I think he's limited on the ball. You can see that for Czech Republic as well. I think that's probably why they're not that good, in my opinion, because he does everything off the ball fantastically well, but they get on it. It's almost like they stall to create chance a little bit. I think Soufal's been superb. I know it's no surprise as such, but sometimes players play differently for club and country, but his form's just continued. It's just kept going kind of thing. I think his deliveries have been fantastic against Scotland and against Croatia. I think he's, over the 2 games, I think he's brilliant. Kral's been disappointing. I don't watch Russian football, so I've only ever seen him for Czech Republic, and even that was limited. So I was really looking forward to watching him, actually. I was almost wanting, I know you can't judge a player off a tournament, but I was wanting to see something that says, oh, I'd love him at West Ham, actually. Sure. You see him, you're a bit like, oof. Got dropped for the second game. And I think that's part of their problem, though. They beat Scotland, then they've rotated about 4 or 5 players. You can say rotated or dropped whichever one you want. So that's not a good thing. I think they've got some okay players in there. They've got that guy with a funny name that plays on the right. What's his name? Massapust or something. I like that name. Like Janko and that in there as well. So they're functional side. They're okay, but they're not quite world class, but they're good. Anyway, let's talk about England. Southgate's got a few issues. He probably doesn't think he does, because obviously he looks at the table and says, what's the issue here? We're not conceding a goal, we're going through, what's the problem, kind of thing. But let's start with the starting 11. You saw the team against Scotland. What changes would you like to see? Would you keep the back 4 the same, or would you like to see a little bit of movement in there?
All right, look, if Maguire's fit, they can bring Maguire in. That's the only actually no, I'd bring Chilwell in, actually, to be fair. I think he's a little bit more, again, got a little bit more technique, but I'd rather, look, Shaw in there is fine, just not Trippier in there. I'd certainly keep Reece James there. If Maguire's fit, Maguire comes in. If not, Mings, obviously defensively, the back four is not a problem defensively. Hasn't been. They look solid enough. I think I do agree with what you said. By the way, I think Mings has got a mistake in him, but I think he's looked solid. So I think he's done well in both games. It's how is a defense from attacking perspective, and that's why James got to be in. That's why I put Chilwell in there. So I'd keep that more or less the same. Obviously, Maguire walks back into the team.
Yeah, Maguire should walk back into the team. I think if you need to get him in, get his match fitness up for the next round, if anything, because he's not played for a while for Man United, so he's not been left out of form or giving other guys a chance. He's been injured. I think it's almost important. Belgium are doing it with De Bruyne that. They're through, but Martinez has said, no, De Bruyne is starting the next game because we need him to get his match fitness up for the next round, which is unfortunate for Mings. I think he's actually been your best player so far for the tournament, which says a lot about England rather than anything else. But the rest of the defence, I think, it's all right. No one's really been bad. It's more about the way Southgate allows them to play football rather than the personnel themselves. We'll get on to that in a second. Phillips and Rice, I don't think it worked against Scotland.
No,
against Croatia, but not on Friday.
No, I'd take Phillips out for this one, and I'd start with Grealish, and I mean, come on, let's put the shackles off. It's all that old thing. Go out on your swords, go out trying. To what? Look, why? I have this about European competition. I have it about cup competition. I have it about everything. Why do you want to get promoted to the Premier League? Why do you want to qualify for the Europa Cup? Why do you want to do anything? Just to say you've done it, to be there? What is the point in trying to mathematically trick our way out of the group? To what end? To win the tournament? Well, no, because you're not going to do it that way. You're going to need some momentum. You're going to need some cohesive style of play. You're going to need some strategy. It's not going to be enough to trip and stumble and drunkenly fall out of the group by accident, after 8 beers, at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's not the way to get out of the group at all. And what's the end game? Surely the end game has to be to try and win the tournament. So he's got to put something in place that's going to win the tournament, and this is the time to do it. So actually, it's a case of go out on your sword, Gareth. If you're going to get sacked, and you might, so if it carries on much like this, you're going to get the boot. So what do you want to turn around and say? I tried to, I sort of stumbled and went from one thing to another and had a mishmash of a team. Basically, he doesn't know his team. We know he doesn't know his team because he didn't play. He didn't know what he was doing in the 2 warm-up games. All right, he will say that he didn't have the players available to him. Well, that's his thing. Okay, Man City and Chelsea didn't say you're not having them now. He could have called them up the next day. All right, this is all self-imposed. He's jumping through a set of hoops that he's put in place himself. And you just think, come on, mate, sort it out. Okay, he's not built up any sort of, you say about getting Maguire up and fit and ready and De Bruyne and Martinez doing that. He's not done this. He's not put this into play. Get your team now. If you're going to go out on your sword and on your shield, sorry. And if you're going to do that, you actually might well find that whilst you're doing that, you might stumble across a formation and a system that works. You might actually find that you win a game 2 or 3-0. Then all of a sudden you think, hello, this is how we're going to play. Because currently what he's doing ain't going to wash.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would drop Phillips for this one. It's not really his fault per se, but obviously we've seen Declan Rice for our whole season, well, more than that, but for the last season, we can see what he can do. So we're also going to be a bit biased towards Declan. Yeah. Just like I completely understand if a Leeds United fan did a similar preview and said, I would get Declan Rice out, so I would completely get it. They should be saying that. They watch Calvin Phillips every week. I think you've got to drop Mason Mount in beside Declan Rice person. I think he's the right one. You've got to put him in there. Grealish has got to start as well. It's criminal that the only time Grealish has been on the pitch, Foden's been off it. You've not seen them both on the pitch at the same time, and it's difficult. It's hard because what Southgate's asking for, Foden was moulded by Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola has kept the reins on Phil Foden for a long time at Man City. He's given him time here and there, but he's almost moulded him into the way he wants him to be. So for the last 5-6 years, he's played this one particular style of football. He's gone to England, Southgate said, "Oh no, don't play that way." The Fortnite doesn't know how not to play that way. It's the only way he can play. He's playing right wing for England. I've not seen him do that for City. And he's done it a few times, but everyone knows he's best when he's on the left. Get him on the left, kind of thing. He's got players in the wrong position, and they're just not playing great. England don't strike fear into anyone at the minute. The only saving grace for England is there's not many countries that are. Italy aside, there's no one I've watched I've thought, wow, okay. Like Netherlands are scraping through. They've won both games, but they don't look great. Netherlands, they don't look very good. You look at Spain, they've got 2 points after 2 games. They might go through top, but you look at them, you think England can beat these countries. This is so far the Euros. Even France, drawn with Hungary, it's almost like a poor so far. There's an opportunity there for someone to just step up and be better. Italy is the only one so far, but when you look at Spain, you look at the team, you think, all right, that's probably their best team. It's one of their best teams. You look at England, you just think it's so restricted by the manager at the minute. What about Harry Kane? Would you continue to start him or would you drop him? Because, there's 2 games now and he's barely touched the ball.
Well, yeah, I would, but this has to come back from the ethos of the manager. And Harry Kane's a wonderful striker. Let's try and get the best out of him. You speak about Italy. If Gareth Southgate was in charge of Italy, he'd be saying, well, you can't play Insigne and Barella together. This is what we're dealing with, basically. And so he needs to start. I would actually... He gave another strange comment the other day, alluding to the fact of why were people bigging up Sancho? Let him manage Sancho the way he wants to. And I've heard him speak this way in a way I agree with. And it reminds me, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Pardew a bit. Saying, well, I don't know why the fans are calling for Mascherano and Tevez. And I liked Pardew, you know this, right? But that bit he got wrong. And even when Curbs came in, Curbs started off by saying, the fans are chanting for Carlos Tevez. Why? He's done that. You don't think, oh, crikey, come on, fellas. So actually, he's already preempting us for trying to lower expectations of Sancho. I think this is not the way to go. I think sometimes you need to blow smoke up people's Sometimes people need to be told they're brilliant. Do you know what I mean? You're great. And actually, I think this is the time. So actually, I would go completely. I'll tell Sancho I think he's the best midfielder in the world, or best winger in the world, or whatever. And I'd be getting him. I'd probably drop Sterling. I'd probably bring Sancho in. And I'd probably be saying to this, and Grealish should be in there as well, and Foden be in there. And you know what I'd be saying to them? Boys, enjoy yourselves. Go out and play. You're all absolutely brilliant. Do us a favour. That striker in front of you is absolutely brilliant as well. Let's get him in the game. And I'd say to Harry, if I see you next to Declan Rice at any part during the game, you've played some lovely balls to Son this season at Tottenham. If I see you stood next to Declan Rice at any point during the game, I'm going to smack your bum. Stay up the front. That's what he really needs to do. So I would. Harry Kane is a quality operator. Southgate needs to sort it out. It's Harry Kane is the gun. Southgate has the ammunition. Southgate just has to load that ammunition into the gun. It's a simple task.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. It's criminal that you're not even crossing the ball for Harry Kane. He's one of the best in the air in the Premier League. You're getting the ball out wide and turn around and passing it backwards, and then it goes across the pitch and back across the pitch again. You think, there's a reason teams sit back against England and go in the box in defending numbers, and it's because they're scared. It's because they're scared of Harry Kane. We've got to double up on. You've got to get 2 centre backs on Harry Kane because he's that good in the air, kind of thing. And there's almost this resentment to cross it. And I don't get why, because you've got Chilwell and Shaw, excellent crossers of the ball. Reece James, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, excellent crossers of the ball. You don't even need your wingers to do the crossing. Let your fullbacks do it, who have plenty of room. It's Southgate's system really is just strangling a lot of the England players, including Declan Rice. I thought he was crap against Scotland. But the way he plays for England is completely different to what we've seen from West Ham. It wasn't until about the 90th minute, we saw a little bit of Declan Rice West Ham where he drove forward himself. He thought, I'm going to drive 5-6 yards, did a quick 1-2, and then that whole fumble in the box happened. But Declan Rice caused it by sort of charging forward off his own back. And it was almost like he fed up of it all as well. But anyway, looking at the group, so Southgate's almost in 2018. Southgate threw the game against Belgium, as far as I'm concerned. He made a load of changes, lost to Belgium, finished second, and had an easier run in, if you like. he's got a similar decision to make here. Because if you win the group, you play the runners-up of the group that consists of France, Portugal, and Germany. So at the minute, you're probably facing, if you win the winners of this group will probably face Germany or France as it stands. Chances are Portugal will win the group, but probably France at the finish runner-up. If you finish second in the group, you play the winner of the group, which consists of Slovakia, Sweden, and Spain. Currently, Sweden sit top of that group, and Spain only have 2 points. There's a possible chance are Sweden will be top. However, that group, do you know how like when you do the group stages, there's 2 different sides of the chart, and they make their way into the final. That group will have the better teams. Belgium's over that side. The winner of the France group is over that side as well. Also, if you win the group, you play at Wembley. You can runner up, easier tie, but you're in Copenhagen. Has Southgate got a dilemma, or is it straightforward, which is you win the game and you try and win the group?
Well, he has to. Otherwise, what he'll do is he'll find himself in 15 years, 20 years doing a documentary about this tournament, and I'll be saying, Gareth, what were your tactics to get into this tournament? And he will say, well, what I thought I'd do is I wouldn't practice in the warm-ups, wouldn't play the team in the warm-ups. Then I thought I'd go into the tournament and sort of lose a couple of attacking players. I thought I'd do that. I'd try the old right back, left back routine. You know, I thought that would be a good way to do it. I had to try some crocodile tears when Trent Alexander-Arnold got injured, and I said he couldn't play. I wasn't going to play him anyway. But I pretended to be disappointed he was out. And then what I thought I would do was I thought I would try and make sure we lost, so we played another crap team, and then eventually that would get us through to the next round, and hopefully we would get all the way to the final just playing crap teams, and all the other teams would fall by the wayside, and all of a sudden we're in the European Championship final against Accrington Stanley. And I don't know why it didn't work, but that was my tactics. Geo, if he dares to try and finish second in this group, I don't know what the maths are, all right? I know, which I should. It's only sort of, we're dealing in 4s and 5s and 6 points. My math should be up to the standard of dealing with
basically, you need to win the group. A draw.
Okay, but if we lose, are we out?
No. If you lose, you're on 4 points. You're probably in the next round anyway. But if you lose and Croatia beats Scotland, or if Scotland beat Croatia by about 3-4 goals, which won't happen, but if Croatia beats Scotland by 2 goals, they will finish above England, and England will then go third, probably also go through, but you will then face a winner of a group, and that group at the minute is unknown.
Okay, so England can finish third if they lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a major likelihood, I would say. So Gareth Southgate cannot mess around. Gareth Southgate has to win. He has to win handsomely. And he ain't going to do that with the old right back and left back routine and as many defensive midfielders as you can possibly muster and not passing the ball to Harry Kane. He has to go for the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a draw, I think he'd accept the draw at the minute. I think the Czechs would, because then they go through top. I think Southgate would, because he gets the easier tie in the second round, or so he thinks anyway. And I just think it's dangerous because I think there's a lot of pressure on Southgate going into this game. Fans are waiting for something that says we can go on and win this kind of thing. There's been nothing so far. Also, the other teams looking, who you might face in the next round, will be looking at England thinking, it's not much there. We'll be happy to beat them kind of thing. When I have seen Portugal and Germany and France play, while they're all taking points off each other, I do look at them and think there's a potential there for someone to wall up England. If England turn up like they did against Scotland, one of those 3 teams, or Belgium or someone, Italy, they're just a bit more ruthless than England. I think England's almost soft this tournament. It's almost like they're too afraid. You saw after the Scotland game, Mount and Chilwell, their arms around Billy Gilmore, all mates and stuff. This is supposed to be like the oldest rivalry in football. Now, you don't want to see anyone getting broken legs, but you'd like to see a little bit of passion for the country. And then after what is a disappointing result for England, you'd like to see that reflected in the players' mentality, that they're unhappy to have drawn the game. Then they're going up to the guy who got man of the match in the end. They're going up to the guy to say, well done to him. Listen, text him afterwards for all you want. Speak to him in the tunnel for all you want, away from the cameras. But to do it on the pitch, it's almost like a slap in every England fan's face that says, we're not that bothered. We only drew. It's not that big a deal. What are you lot getting upset about kind of thing?
That's right.
It's a bit of a slap in the face. And you get one from the manager when he picks his line up and you play. The last thing you need is from the players that played to do it as well kind of thing. And Mason Mount is one of the most likable footballers around as far as I'm concerned. I think he's a really likable guy and stuff. And you see that and you think, you've negative PR points there, Mason. England at the minute are just calling out for a little bit of something to get behind. And there's just not much there at the minute. But anyway, how are you feeling for the game? Are you confident for this one? I think I know your answer, but...
Yeah, no, I'm not confident. I'm not even looking forward to it. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm sorry.
You should do. You're in the next round. round.
Yeah, I know. But some people have the capacity to suck the bloody joy out of anything, right? And I'm afraid he is one of those. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear his comments about that. I understand why the fans are a little bit more annoyed with the draw than normally, because they have higher expectations because it's a home nation. I get it. We don't get it at all. It was crap. It was a crap performance. And actually, I don't think he gets it at all. We weren't all going mad. It's Scotland. We got to beat Scotland. I didn't hear that much of that. I was in the chat. People in the chat on the old watch along. I wasn't saying we're crap and it's Scotland, so we got to do better. It was just England are crap. Honestly, we could have been playing anyone, Geo, and the fans wouldn't have been happy with what they saw. All right. Now I know it had more importance, but Southgate got it wrong. Was he thought the England fans were only moaning because it was Scotland? So had that have been Switzerland, we would have been happy with a draw. What? And that performance? No, mate. Honestly, he needs to sort it out.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, there's a lot of people unhappy with the win against Croatia. A lot of people thought we got away with that one, Gareth. You're going to have to do a little bit better than that in the next few games, otherwise we're going out kind of thing. So there's a lot of other people, they did the whole, we'll accept it was a win, but you need to improve the performance kind of thing. And then you went backwards in the next fixture against arguably a lesser country. I can understand the frustrations of England fans. Certainly, I won't be watching the game on Tuesday because it's on the same time as Scotland. But certainly up until this point, completely understand frustrations. We'd understand any fears of not going very far once you're out the group kind of thing. Not ideal. Final thoughts on the game and your score prediction, please.
I think I've given my thoughts on the game. I need to, he needs to take this. He's paralysed by fear. He needs to unshackle himself. And he needs to actually go out and enjoy it. And then that will transmit to the players who don't look like they're enjoying it. That has transmitted, that paralysis from the fear has actually transmitted to the players. He should be telling, the phrase has changed. You don't say play like Brazil anymore. I guess you say play like Barcelona or whatever. But whatever the modern one is, right? Play like Man City, whatever. Whatever the modern one is, actually, he needs to go out there and tell them to enjoy themselves. All right? And he needs to be saying, you talk about the crosses to Kane. He needs to be saying, look, you attacking guys, Sancho, Foden, Grealish, you do your stuff. And by the way, the fullback's going to be bombed. You don't even have to worry about the crosses. The fullback's going to be overlapping you. They're going to cross it in. You do your stuff. I want to see rainbow flicks, Rabonas, everything. I want to see the lot. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, I'll be saying to Phil, do you know what, mate? I want to see you nutmeg your opponent at least twice during this game. I'd go and give them all. Seriously, I would. I'd go and give them all little targets. Go on, mate. Do you know what I mean? Do a little shimmy. Go on, Sancho. A little drop of the shoulder, cut inside. Do you know what I mean? I'd be saying that. I would. I'd be saying, Jack, do you know what I want, mate? I want a 20-yard shot from you. Have a little pop, mate. I'd send them out like that. Have a go, right? Have a go. That's what I'd be doing because you have to get rid of that melee. You have to get rid of that fear. You have to get rid of that stagnation and the team being frozen. Let's get them smiling. Let's get them enjoying themselves. Let's get them going for it. That's what he had to do. That being said, I don't think any of that happened. I think West Ham will lose 2-0. West Ham? England. West Ham won't lose 2-0. Yeah, West Ham will lose 2-0 against Newcastle at the start of the season. This one, that's a joke. They won't. We'll do that preview is not coming up yet. England, Newcastle. We'll do that in a little while. West Ham, Newcastle. England, West Ham. I'm going mad. I haven't even drank anything.
Southgate-itis that. The thing, I don't really go as wild as you, but what this is, given that you're probably going to go through, even if you lose 4 points, say you lose by 1 goal, so 0 goal difference, that should be enough to get you through. It'll take, because 4 of the 6 third-place teams go through. 4 points should be enough. But if it is, like I said, I think it is, this almost gives Southgate one last game to try something. There's no point grinding out a 0-0 against. What are you going to learn from grinding out a draw against Czech Republic? What are you going to learn from playing the same team again in scraping a 1-0 victory. You're not going to learn anything. So he's got an opportunity here in a competitive fixture to try something new, and if it works, use it in the knockout stages. And if it doesn't work, you've tried it. This is time to try plan C, whatever that is. That's got to consist. The first thing, the priority for me, if I was an England fan, would be to get Grealish and Foden in that starting 11. That would be the number one priority. Get them in. Now, how do we work around this? Okay, we're going to have Kane up front, Rice midfield. That leaves another attacking midfielder and another midfielder. Let's work around this. But Foden and Grealish must be the first two names on the team sheet, because we've not seen it yet. We've not seen them two playing together yet. And it's criminal, because they're wonderful footballers. They should be able to carve open any team, any stubborn defence that you come across in the next round. Them two should be good enough to do 1-2s and stuff and create challenges. You've got one of the best finishers in the Premier League who's not had a chance yet. England have had 3 shots on target at this tournament. It's ridiculous. 3 shots on target. Scotland have had 6. Okay, we haven't scored a goal, but we're creating more and or greater chances than what England are with half the ability in the team. It's ridiculous, really. Southgate needs to sort it out. Saying that, I think a point suits Czech Republic. They'll win the group. I think a point suits England. It guarantees them second place in the group. So with that in mind, I'm going to say 0-0. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be Czech Republic 0, England 0. That you into the next round, and you should have an easier time than last 16 in Copenhagen, but you're in the difficult half of the group. Anyway, we will catch you in a bit. Thank you very much for joining us. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure you download the OneFootball app. Link in the description and the pinned comments. And we'll see you in a bit. Catch you in a bit, Gonzo.
You'll do, mate.